All right. Appreciate each and every last one of you all. Thank you all for tuning in to the nation. My name is Law Nation. That's LAW Nation. We're going to talk a little bit about the Dak Prescott, and we're going to talk about the OTAs and things of that nature. Training camp is right around the corner, but I really want to be able to talk to you all here that's live about the book signing that we're going to have with Cowboys Experience this weekend. The event is Saturday, June the 15th at 2:30, 4 o'clock, 2:30 to 4 o'clock. So I want to see you all there. I really want to see you all in the mix, especially those who love football and like to be around other football-minded people. I can't wait to see you all there. And so that we can start talking about, the future of this team, and also pick my brain and pick Alan Hearn's brain if possible about, his role in this offense and as well as what Dak Prescott improved on and things like that. So we want to look at everything from A to Z. Everything. We want to turn over every stone. We don't want to leave no stone unturned. So we want to be able to look at that too, Cowboy Nation, and continue to grow. And that's one of the things that we have to look at too. Really appreciate you all for being part of this thing. We're going to also listen in to 105.3 The Fan. They talked on levels of with Dak Prescott, and Bryan Broaddus always have some type of good info for the nation, and we have to bring that up too. So really appreciate you all. Thank you all. Thank you all. I can't say this enough. And I'll get into more details of Alan Hearn and what I think he brings to the table. And also, we got some other things that's going around the corner that I can't wait to show you all that we got going on today. So let's get this thing going, Cowboy Nation, and let's listen.
About all this Dak Prescott hype. Yeah. Clarence Hill, Fort Worth Star Telegram. Sure. I got a phone call yesterday from someone who's got connections there saying John Kitna and the footwork has people buzzing. Mm-hmm. And you texted me while we were talking about some of this and saying it's legit. So Dak looks different?
Yeah, I heard Mike Fisher this morning kind of describe what was Dak, how he looks physically, and he has slimmed down. He doesn't look as big and boxy as he has in the past, and I think that's helped him with a little bit. Dak has always had that ability, and we talked about this. He and I did we broke down the play he did for the touchdown he threw to Cole Beasley, where he went all the way to his left, the game-winning touchdown, and then opened and almost like Jumpman, opened up and threw the ball to Beasley. And we kind of went through all that, but now you look like he has a little bit, maybe even a little bit more flexibility. Kitna is really an attention to detail guy, and what's funny is, even when Kitna is not working with his quarterbacks, Kitna's got a son that's a quarterback, and he's always kind of tinkering with him, and he comes up with some really interesting drills that, with footwork and escapability and, pointing the shoulder and the knee and bending the knee. And so, and again, I heard Mike say, hey, nothing against the guys that have tried to coach him before, but if you got a guy that really likes to tinker with people's ability to, or quarterback's ability to throw the football and can kind of get you in position to make better throws, and that's something that Dak Prescott has done. When he doesn't miss a throw, or what we've been able to see, his missing throws now is maybe to be 6 inches too far to the left, 6 inches too far to the right, or maybe just a little bit too far down the field. Before, we'd seen some stuff coming across the middle of the field, and it was like he was throwing the sweat ball.
Now, why is this important, Cowboy Nation? This is important because a lot of times, I said before in the previous stream, that we look at things like quarterback play, quarterback production. We look at quarterback skill set. And one of the major things will be this right here. When a quarterback, what is he doing during practice? I know we talking about practice. I heard some people going back and forth with me before saying, oh, man, Law, this is just practice. No, Dak Prescott in the last 3 years he was never a great practice player. He was never a guy that all of a sudden we look at Dak Prescott and say, oh, man, this guy's lighting it up during practice. It was like, oh, wait and see. So now that we're seeing the small improvements, hopefully, now that we can identify those small things, and then we'll see how everything correlates as it relates to an actual game. And trust me, when you start working on your craft, you start working on yourself, everything else everything else grows within. And this is how the process goes, Cowboy Nation. I wish I could make it up differently, but the reality of it is that Dak Prescott is improving. So I love hearing this from Bryan Broaddus. I might as well say this. Hold on. The great Bryan Broaddus. Can't wait to see him this year at Oxnard, and we get to crunch up some things together in those parameters. But let's listen to some more of what they have to say.
Was fluttering out of his hand and too high and all that. And, his accuracy in these camps has been real good. And I think it's because, again, his mechanics have been better because of John Kitna, and physically he's remade his body to fit how his mechanics need to be.
You mentioned John Kitna's son, Jalen, by the way, Brian.
Yeah.
He is the favorite to be the starting quarterback at Frisco Reedy this year.
You go.
They're very excited about him.
Good, yeah.
Hey, I wanted to ask you about Tony Pollard. Okay, I mean, if Zeke is going to get this deal that they're talking about, the extension, at some point they're going to have to start giving the ball to somebody else so that they don't run him into the ground before the deal is up, right? So they need somebody to emerge. Pollard looks a little quicker than maybe I expected. What have you seen from him? And is my eye right? Is he faster than we thought?
No, he is. He's when you watch his tape at Memphis, he was a backup player at Memphis, and so when they hand him the ball, he only needed really a little bit of a small crack to get through. He does have that quickness. Yesterday I wrote about there was he had a situation where they left two linebackers inside unblocked. And what happened is he saw that instead of just trying to finish out the play and then, and to get tackled for a 2-yard gain, he put his right foot in the ground and then just
went upfield.
Hightailed it to around the left.
He said,
hightailed
hightailed
it. He got a block on the edge from Blake Jarwin, and it helped him get around the corner. And then he took those linebackers that were in position to tackle him. All of a sudden, they were running through trash to try and get to him. And it turned out it would have been like a gain of 1, ended up being a gain of 7, just because of his ability to see the vision, put the foot in the ground, and then get around the corner. So, yeah, he catches the ball really well. With no pads on, you could see that he honestly understands blitz pickup. Again, the physicality side of it we'll see when we get in camp and you put on pads. But half the battle is knowing who you have to block, because they're not going to put you on the field if you don't know who you're supposed to pick up. And so those are the things I think that we've seen that have been very positive. I'll say this, though. If you look at Darius Jackson, who has really been running as the second running back, he looks like a different guy. There's a little bit more quickness with him. There's a little bit more fluidness to his game, in and out, the way he's running and stuff. So he's one of those guys, I'm sure, that worked very hard. He was coming off a knee injury, another year removed from that. I think that's kind of helped him. So this running back group, we'll see in the preseason how it really plays out, how they divvy up the reps, and then did they go a little long at that position, or are they just going to go with 3 guys?
I think they're going to go a little with 3 guys. I don't see them trying to go along with that position. I feel like Ezekiel Elliott, this may be another great year for Ezekiel. Yes, Jamal, we live like 95. Yes, indeed. I think Ezekiel Elliott may be one of those guys as we can look at it down the line and say, oh, man, Roger, what are you doing? Leave the man alone. With Roger Goodell, also with the aspect of what he's going to try to do with the suspension and stuff like that, I just think it should be all swept under the rug. Let's just leave all of this news pressing out of the news, basically. My thing is with Tony Pollard, Jamez Olawale, I think that those would be the 2 guys. Mike Weber, it could be quite possible, but we'll see. It's a long, hard road, but I think that they probably go with more wide receivers. There's a lot of speed out there. A lot of speed. Shout out to Brian Drake. He says Cameron Reed isn't good anyways. What I told you guys about number 51, man. Don't be mentioning that guy's name. Shout out to Miss Jackie Smith. Appreciate you for tuning in. Let's listen.
I am surprised, but I'm not surprised I'm not hearing a little more Mike White instead of Darius Jackson.
Mike Weber?
Mike Weber, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because even though he got picked late, they had a higher grade on him.
He had the hamstring thing, though, during rookie minicamp, so maybe that's slowing him a little bit.
Well, the thing with you're talking.
No wonder I'm not hearing Mike Weber.
Yeah, exactly.
He's practicing some now.
Well, he had the knee.
The knee. That's what it was, not a hamstring.
It was the knee that was just a little. He kind of. There were some questions about Mike Weber when he got here. Of he was a player at Ohio State that those guys that tend to come from big programs might be coddled a little bit.
Coddle,
and so,
you're
kind of talking to some guys and like, well, how's Mike Weber doing? And you're like, well, Mike Weber needs to learn how to be a pro. And a pro, I mean, okay, when you're a pro, you're part of meetings, you're engaged, you're locked in, you're practicing hard, you're doing everything that you want they need you to do. So I was kind of heard that, hey, maybe a little talk with Mike Weber, and he seems to be going forward the right direction now. So they're kind of splitting time with him, and that's good, But they needed to get to him really early because again at Ohio State he was probably the future big fish in a little pond. Yeah. But now he's a little fish in a big pond, and so it takes to getting used to. But it seems like all the things are pointing in the right direction for him, kind of making a little bit of a switch.
Bryan Broaddus, DallasCowboys.com, joining us on the BuyerSafety.com hotline.
Shout out to I Am Jazzy and Antoine Myers. Appreciate you.
Let's move on to wideout. I made fun of Fish a couple of weeks ago because he was giving props and saying that he feels good about wide receiver depth. And I'm like, no, there's a bunch of no names. But every week now, first off, Brad Sham at the house was in love with John V. Johnson.
Yes.
But now I'm seeing Reggie Davis yesterday. Yeah. I'm seeing Jalen Guyton. I'm seeing all these different names. How do you feel about kind of these no-name wide receivers trying to make a mark and the way they've been practicing?
Well, I kind of all along thought that maybe this might be the position where you would see some veterans get put on the street. And, and now you have to figure out, okay, is the veterans, is that Tavon Austin? I think that they keep Alan Hearns around, me personally, because if something happens to your first or second receiver, Alan Hearns could be that guy that could step in and be a starter. You don't want to put yourself in a situation where if you lose the starter, you'll say, well, wait, Brian, you could take Randall Cobb and make him the starter. Well, Randall Cobb is going to be a vital part of what you're doing in 11 personnel out of the slot. So I don't know if I want to necessarily take him out of the slot. So I think you have to have a veteran-type guy that can step in and make starts and be effective that way. So I think that Hearns would probably be your fourth guy right now. Now it's the battle of, okay, who's 5 and 6 if they do keep 6. There's a good group of guys there, but like I say, I don't think Noah Brown's position is necessary. Now, Noah Brown might make it because of special team stuff. That's something that we have not talked about really enough. And I don't really know if they have a core special teams group right now. And there had been a time in the past where they had the guys like the Kyle Wilbers of the world. Jeff Heath, when he wasn't a starter at safety, was a core special teams guy. And I don't know if they necessarily have that group. I've never been around a team where the linebackers don't play special teams. And you look at all the starters for the Cowboys. Jalen doesn't play, Van Der Esch doesn't play, Sean Lee doesn't play.
And we definitely don't want them to play. Appreciate you guys. Brian Drake says, what do you think Cooper Rush or Mike White will get on to the second quarterback? It looks more so like Mike White is going to make it to that second quarterback. But we still have to wait and see. Of course, preseason could make it or break it. Remember the guy, number 14, Lance Lenore, played well all the way into the preseason, and all of a sudden he couldn't play football, right? So I think I'm leaning more towards Mike White. He seems like he's part of the organization a little bit more. As far as the wide receivers, that's just going to be a main focal point for this offseason is wide receivers. I want to say during training camp, we want to look at that particular side of the ball, and then on the defensive front. I think that the staple pieces, as far as like the solid pieces, are the linebackers. I don't think that there's going to be like a battle per se with that particular grouping, in my opinion. And Mayhar, yes, JR214 says competition to watch with one eye closed. You're gonna be like, yeah, man, Brett, did he make it with the one eye closed? We're gonna have to figure out something with Brett Mayhar. I would like to see all kicks within the 20 to 25, because if it's any kick with 45 yards and beyond, your boy Brett Mayhar or however you want to call it, will nail it for some reason. It's just those closer kicks. In football, baby, is a game of inches, and also some games are won. Most games, if you want to look at the collective history, are won within 1 or 2 points. So you really want your kicker to be solid. You want your kicker to be 100. Ain't that right, JJ? You want that kicker to be off the chain, and that's what we're looking at. Far as news for tonight, we're going to do a joint collaboration for the nation. Can't wait to see you all tonight. We're going to be talking about Redskins. That's going to be the topic for tonight. We're going to be going into details of the Redskins with my guy Louis T. Network. He got his own podcast or what have you, and I would like to see you all tuning in so you guys can pick his brain on the, Redskin talk, how he feel about the Dallas Cowboys draft picks, and I'll give you guys my thoughts on Darius Guice and I guess they re-signed the old Adrian Peterson. I guess I can give you guys my thoughts on him. And we're going to go into details of all of everything. And the guy's knowledgeable. I mean, he just don't talk Redskin. He talks other football teams as well as the Cowboys and Eagles and all those things. So it's always good collaborating. It's always good reaching out to other content creators so that we can have a I guess, well-rounded opinion or well-rounded thoughts of, of other team thoughts and insights and things like that. So I'm always trying to grow the nation, and we always trying to grow with different points of views. So it's good. And trust me, he's no guy that's going to be sitting back like, I don't know about this. He brings in some knowledge out there. I want Cedric Wilson on the 53. This is from Guy Johnson. This is Antoine. Yes. My thing is with Cedric, we will have to see, wait and see with him, because he's not a speedster. He's not going to be like one of those flashes like, oh man, did you see, take the top off the defense and he killed this guy and he killed that guy out there on the field. He's not that guy, right? He's the in-between slot guy / he's going to play more so on the number 2 side of the ball. He's not going to play X. You wouldn't want him to play X. The only X receivers that we got out there, from what I know, is the Gallups, the Noah Brown, and maybe you're throwing Amari Cooper at the X, but I like Amari Cooper more. He's more dangerous inside, and he's more dangerous as playing the Z and the Y, or moving in and motion into those sides. Jay Jones says Mark Holmes should call in if he's back. Yeah. TA says just fire Jason Garrett. Oh, I feel you, man. Elijah, what's up, man? Thank you for tuning in to the nation. Brett is kind good from the deep range. Yes, Ventura. Yes, he is deep. He's good from the deep range. It's just we kind of like, I don't trust this man when it's close, Or Foots should call in tonight. This is from Jay Jones. I'll reach out to Foots and see whether or not he can call in, or Vaughn or what have you. And see whether or not they're busy or what have you. But it's going to be around 8:15 to 8:30ish. Just hit that notification bell, guys, and that way you guys will not be missed out on anything. Let's see if we can tune back into some more of the OTA talk with Bryan Broaddus and 105.3 The Fan. Check them out. Like I said, all of the content, the greatest radio station to be a part of is 105.3 The Fan. Sports 1310, The Ticket, they pretty cool, but I kind of like feeling the vibe from 105.3 The Fan. You can check out all this information from radio.com.
What running backs are going to play with special teams? Maybe we can see with Darius Jackson what he's going to do. So wide receiver, that's a whole other thing. But I know you asked me about these receivers, and maybe it might come down to the 5th or 6th guy having to be a special teams type of a player. But I do feel good about the fact that they threw Reggie Davis out there with the ones, and Dak Prescott said, okay, I'm going to hold the safety in the middle of the field, Darian Thompson, with my eyes, and let's see if Reggie Davis can get past Donovan Olumba on the outside. And he was able to do that. And Dak threw him a beautiful ball that Davis was able to adjust and make the play on. So, yeah, if those are the things that those guys have to keep doing. John V. Johnson, he makes a play every practice.
Right.
They had a jump ball situation where they it was a Hail Mary. They were practicing Hail Mary, and Mike White threw it to the right sideline in the corner of the end zone, and it was sea of hands. John V. Johnson almost ends up with the ball. It's knocked around, tipped in the air, and then he's right where he needs to be, and it bounced off his wrist. But man, the guy's at least putting himself in position to make plays, and I think that's what, if you're a young guy, that's all you can ask, to do. Be the guy that's in position to make plays, finish some plays, and then you find your way on the roster.
You mentioned Reggie Davis, 4.3140 coming out of Georgia, and that guy can fly.
Yeah.
And then the special teams thing Fish pointed out, Dorrance Armstrong was on kickoff duty yesterday.
Right.
I've never seen a defensive lineman on kickoff duty in my life, so that was interesting to watch.
Yeah.
And real quick, Marinelli was loving Dorrance Armstrong. Are you seeing a step forward from him?
Yeah, it is. If you look at guys the second year, this time last year, he was just trying to keep his head above the water.
Right.
Is what he was trying to do. And now, they've gone through 9 practices. He's been the starter at left defensive end for 9 practices. And so, those are the kinds of things that build confidence in a player. He's going to get to training camp. A lot of these guys.
And now it's important what Bryan Broaddus is talking about with Dorrance, and I know this for a fact. Dorrance is a right defensive end, edge rusher, and for him to flip to the left side and dominating on that side of the field, it's pretty cool because we really need that help. I don't think that D-Law is going to be ready week 1. I'm thinking that bring them on slowly. Don't try to rush. You can't rush perfection. You saw last night when they tried to bring Kevin Durant back out there too quick, and what happened there is everything snapped up real easy. And if I'm a offensive tackle and I'm looking at D-Law, my first thing is, and this is just about war, this is nothing about being dirty or anything, my first thing is to test out that shoulder, make sure he's about that action. So if you're smart and wise, you'll just bring him on slowly and don't rush it. You can't rush perfection, and the season is meant to be grind for a long period, not something that you just throw out there and you say, okay, I'm ready for it. So that's what I'm looking at. Bring them on slowly. Do not rush. Do not rush. Repeat. I'm going to repeat again to myself. Do not rush D-Law. Just let this thing slowly move in, and you'll see hopefully Dorrance Armstrong and then Joe Jackson and those boys and Tacos can make something happen. And Taco's battled an injury as well, so we got a lot of things that we have to figure out how we can pump the brakes when it's time to just pump the brakes, and when it's time to put the foot on the gas, we put the foot on the gas. But that's what we have to do out there, Cowboy Nation. Let's listen to some more of these clips before we get into the final minutes.
That look good in the helmets and the T-shirts and stuff like that. Yeah, great. Can you carry that over to when they start with the pads? Can you get a good quality rush, against a Lyle Collins or a Tyron Smith, or can you kick down inside and beat Zach Martin one time? Those are the kinds of things that we're going to need to see from some of these second-year guys that, taking that next step. We know that Leighton Vander Esch can be that guy, step it up and be just fine. But there's some other guys that are second-year guys that clearly need to do that as well.
One of the things that I've been loving watching, Brian, is seeing Dak to Amari and just how, he came on the scene in the middle of last year, and I thought it was very impressive how they clicked right away and what he did to help kind of save the Cowboys season a year ago. I want to know from you, are you noticing a difference with the extra time they're able to work up during the offseason now? And what is the ceiling for him? Does he have a chance to be one of top 3 guy in the NFL?
Absolutely, he can.
Listen, Cowboy Nation,
because he's young enough. And he's an exceptional route runner, and where he wins is off the line of scrimmage. If you've got a guy that can win off the line of scrimmage the way that Amari Cooper can, then you're going to get a lot of separation, and you're going to get a lot of balls thrown your direction. He has the ability to finish. He had a situation, I wrote about this, where he had to put a bad play behind him. He separates right off the line on the slant. They've got him playing in the slot, tight slot, and they run the RPO, and Dak makes the fake, and he's going to throw the slant, and Cooper's immediately one off the line, and now the ball is on him, and he dropped it. He just flat dropped it. And okay, so you're thinking, wow, that's something you don't see very often. And then the very next play, they throw a vertical route down the left sidelines. And again, coverage is like extremely tight, and Amari Cooper makes a one-handed catch. So you're thinking, okay, well, this guy's didn't worry about that drop too much. He just just caught a ball one-handed over the top. Again, Prescott put it in a great spot, where coverage was very tight. So yeah, he's got that kind of ability because he immediately wins off the line. He is a hard guy to stop at the line of scrimmage. And teams that do that, you can kind of control him a little bit. But if you don't stop him, he is going to wear you out the whole day.
I've been very critical of the Cowboys and their approach towards the backup quarterback position.
You should be.
Okay, I was going to ask, are you seeing something that's going to shut me up here with Cooper Rush or Mike White?
Not yet, no. I have not. No, and we'll get into.
Why are they taking this approach?
Well, you know what? They want to see what Mike White is, and and again, you're talking to a guy who is a horrible evaluator at quarterback. So I'm sure the Tolos out there are like, "Shut the hell up, Broaddus. You don't know what you're talking about when it comes to quarterbacks." But I haven't seen anything, and I've been asking, please, somebody step up. I can't carry three quarterbacks on this roster because of the roster spots. I need that extra quarterback spot. So I need Mike White or Cooper Rush. If Cooper Rush plays like he did his rookie year, then Mike White will likely be cut or practice squad or something like that. I mean, I don't know. Or if Mike White plays well, I think they want Mike White to step up and be better than what he has. But I haven't seen that from Mike White. I haven't seen the anticipation. I haven't seen the accuracy.
He's just thinking too much.
The quickness of throws. I just haven't seen that from him, and that's been disappointing to me. And now maybe things will click when we get to training camp and Oxnard and practice and start playing games. But this backup quarterback situation is something that's going to go out all the way through camp. And if it works with neither guy, then okay, find the phone number for one of the McCowns or somebody like that, Colin Kaepernick, whoever you want, slip that in there. And but that's kind of where this thing is at right now. One of those guys needs to step up. Both of them right now are again, I talked about treading water. That's exactly what they're doing there.
Pastrami.
Got it.
Man, so that was the end of that. Hey, my thing is, I put my bottom dollar on Mike White. I think Mike White is going to win out that battle versus the Cooper Rush. Let me know how you guys feel about that backup situation. I'm really leaning more towards Mike White. I loved his tape coming out of college, so I'm thinking that some of the things that he's able to do is just all mental. And of course, Mike White, he needs a sandwich as well. He's a smaller guy. He's tall or what have you, 6'4", 6'5", got a good arm, can throw a ball through a keyhole. But my thing is, or can hit the keyhole with the ball and the ball goes through the keyhole, that type of stuff, So I don't know whether or not he's over-analyzing, if he's over-evaluating his own self, going through his reads, or just not sure of the offense. Hopefully, we'll see a little bit better Mike White this preseason, because I still have hope that he will be the sacking quarterback. Let me know, Cowboy Nation, how you guys feel, whether or not you are Team Cooper or Rush, or you're Team Mike White. And Cooper Rush is better just to say prime time. And that's what's on his mind. Hey, let me know. And guys, I respect everyone's opinions. This is all opinion based anyway. We all like to give opinions. I had somebody say yesterday, "Oh Lord, why you giving out your opinions? Nobody care." And I said, wait a minute, hold on. This is what this platform is all about. Strong opinions, voiced it out, and then sometimes when opinions becomes realities, right? Or when opinions becomes truth, that's what I lean forward and lean towards. And like I said, I say this all the time, those convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. Meaning that at one point when you say, hey, why are you voicing your opinion? That's your opinion that you voice it on this opinion. You see what I'm saying? So it's always a conundrum too. So we all try to work together. None of us knows everything, right? We don't have the secret lottery numbers in our back pocket. And if you do have them, set that number out. Let a brother know, so we all can be chilling. So we all can be chilling around here. So let's continue to grow, Cowboy Nation. We'd like to see you all out here once again at the Lava Cantina this weekend, and come out there to this event and voice your opinions, voice your thoughts, voice your concerns, and also be inspired by Alan Hearn's Dallas Cowboys wide receiver and his mom, Erica Wilson, the author of It Had to Happen. So it's something that we have to get out, and we just have to step out and be in the mix. Support this team, support everything, and everything else will fall together. Hit me up on these various platforms. I'm all everywhere, especially on the Instagram. Shout out to one of the greatest. I'm talking about, I just got to pull this picture up. The original Captain America. You guys know who he is. I'm not even going to say his name. If you don't know it, just research number 12, okay? and we can get back at this thing. Cowboy Nation, let's continue to grind. Let's continue to push our mind to the things that controls everything, and that's just our thoughts, right? And once we think good, we begin to say to ourselves, you know what? It's not that bad after all, right? All right, so who's it? Marcelo B. Mike White, bro. I was never sold on Cooper Rush. All right. Manny, what's good, man? Can I come? But I'm a Redskin Nation. Yeah, man, you can come on out, man. Hey, we support everybody in the NFC East. Now, although we are the supreme leaders of the NFC East, there's no other team that got more Super Bowls than us in the NFC East. And there's some other people that goes out there and say otherwise. But they still looking up to the greatness, right? Let's continue to grow, Cowboy Nation. Let's continue to get this thing going one way or another. That's been my time. I really thank you all for